Hello and welcome to the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We're so glad you could join us today. Let's first head over, Nikki, to the Weather Center and meteorologist Mike Favetta for a check of the forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Good morning to you, Nikki and Don. We've got a beautiful day ahead. Temperatures in the 50s by this afternoon. So much sunshine around after a few quick sprinkles last night, although not every neighborhood here in Staten Island saw those showers. We clear out today, and with the temperature starting this morning at 41 degrees, that is a solid 10 to 12 degrees above average. We keep that mild trend going right through this afternoon as highs climb to 50 or better. It'll feel very pleasant with just a little bit of a breeze, but there is some more rain on the way that heads into the weekend. We'll talk more about those shower chances coming up and give you a check of that detailed weekend forecast. That, Nikki and Don, in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Mike. So much more rain than snow this winter.
Yeah, very mild.
It's amazing you're saying 50 in February.
I know.
50s in February. I'll take it. I'll take it
Exactly.
every year. Bring it back. Now let's turn it over to Don for a look at the traffic.
Thank you, Nikki, and good morning, Mike, here on this Wednesday. So we're seeing the midday roadwork setting up right on time, as they've been pretty much just to the mark here at 9 o'clock, setting up, closing that HOV lane on the westbound side of the Staten Island Expressway as you get in towards about Manor Road. Let's go out to the cameras. This time we are closer towards Bradley Avenue this morning. We'll expand the camera and show you there. So there's your westbound side. Really, it's just to facilitate the bridge repair being done here as you get closer to Victory Boulevard. So that HOV lane will be out of service till about 2:30. About 9:50, we'll do the timing again. The eastbound side will also get into the action as well, and that will be taking out the HOV lane until, again, about 2:30 or so. Let's go back to the cameras. I want to see how far back this delay gets. I think we're just west of Toad Hill Road, and that is just where that HOV lane, that is the beginnings of the closure, just west of Toad Hill Road. You can see it here as everyone is merging in to the normal lanes of traffic. Let's go back to the map. So just give yourself about another 5 minutes or so in either direction. Eastbound side is heavy just because of the road work there at Richmond Avenue. Let's go to the Goethals Bridge back to Linden, since we're right here on the map. It is pretty quiet. 19, the Turnpike is fine. Heading out to Newark Liberty, we're good. Bayonne Bridge, so far so good. Let's just go up to that camera very quickly here, and let's bring that to the conversation. We saw road work there on the Bayonne Bridge yesterday. Nothing being reported as of now, but I will absolutely keep my eye on that for us. Let's go to the West Shore here is good. A little crowding in towards Arden Avenue. Outer Bridge is fine. Back to Perth Amboy, Woodbridge, Edison, Turnpike, Parkway Interchange, Driscoll Bridge. That is clear. Let's show you the flows here along Highland Boulevard, Amboy Road. And traffic is fine. Arthur Kill Road, all kind of normal stuff for here at 9:04 in the morning. And then we take it over to the eastbound Staten Island Expressway at the Verrazano is good. North Shore, Bay Street, fine to St. George. Also looking good at Richmond Terrace. Let's show you what's going on into Brooklyn now. Upper level, really heavy exiting for the Belt into Bay 8th Street. That's a solid ride. If you're heading out to Kennedy, you're going to see some delays here from Flatbush Avenue through Rockaway Parkway and into Pennsylvania Avenue. Inbound Gowanus is still just a mess, getting straight through Industry City, all the way onto the BQE, all the way up to the Brooklyn Bridge. That's going to run you at least another 45 plus minutes here this morning. And the MTA, we do have our planned service changes here, really boarding changes on the SIR, Arthur Kill to Princess Bay. They're boarding at the Tottenville bound platform until 3, and that's what's happening here on this Wednesday around Staten Island. Nikki.
Don. Thanks, Don. Appreciate that. All right. Well, Staten Island's latest NYPD Build the Block meeting will be held tonight in Tottenville. Residents in the 123rd Precinct will be able to meet with neighborhood coordination officers to discuss a variety of public safety issues. The meeting will get underway at 7 p.m. and will also be accessible on Zoom.
I think it's a great idea, getting the community out and meeting your local precincts and local officers and so forth. And yeah, I think it really helps building that bond with the community that, you know, if something does happen or whatever, that they can have a good working relationship as far as between the police and the community.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's so important. And I think it's also important to really build that respect from the kids as well, to understand that these are people that protect us every day. So I think it's a great thing to do. Now, work is resuming on the long-delayed Lighthouse Point mixed-use development project on the North Shore. At the Community Board 1 meeting last week, the contractor said construction was back underway with a new general contractor in charge of completing the work.
Construction was initially paused in 2019 when the previous contractor filed for bankruptcy. When completed, the project will feature a mixed-use retail space and affordable housing.
Well, that would be nice to know. That
Sure.
Consolidating space and using it for the greater purpose, right?
Yeah, I mean, then, you know, that's the thing here on Staten Island and even the other 4 boroughs is that, you know, space is at a premium. You know, there's more space here on Staten Island than the other 4 boroughs for the most part. But, you know, just trying to find places to do these kind of projects that's the real challenge. Part of the challenge. There's other challenges as well from the
But
community.
it really has always been a challenge, is the lack of space. But you're right, Staten Island is actually more fortunate than the other boroughs insofar as space goes. A Staten Island woman is suing Six Flags Great Adventure after she says she faced discrimination while waiting in line on a ride.
In the suit, the woman says park attendants started questioning her and her daughter about their headscarves and belongings. Great Adventure asked for the lawsuit to be dismissed, arguing they are not responsible for their employees' actions. So I think this is something to definitely follow. Just interesting comments there saying that they're not responsible for their actions, although they're being employed by Six Flags. And again, Great Adventure is in New Jersey, for our friends may not know where that is.
Field trips for the kids.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So this is interesting to see how this is going to play out, to see what the timeline comes through and, you know, what the Six Flags, the parent company, you know, comes back and says. It's an interesting comment that they would say that they're not responsible for their employees. I find that very interesting.
Right, because if we did something on television that was inappropriate or went against any kind of regulations, that would be the companies would be responsible for that. That's just kind of how it works in business. So it's a bit of a slippery slope. You know, you don't always want to take full responsibility for somebody else's actions, but when you are employing them, it could be another story.
Again, there's 2 sides to everything here, so we'll see how this all works out. All right, folks, coming up, we'll hear from the Staten Island Zoo and their new I Heart the Zoo initiative.
That should be fun. Plus, we'll hear more on the upcoming Staten Island Film Festival.
And you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our community safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Hello and welcome to the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. So glad you could join us today.
We are indeed.
Yeah, so we got a great interview coming up here next. The Staten Island Zoo is gearing up for Valentine's Day with its I Heart the Zoo event this Saturday.
How fun. Here now to tell us more is the zoo's Director of Education, Jessica Hartman, and their volunteer coordinator and special events coordinator, Sarah Martin. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning. So what should people know right off the bat about I Heart the Zoo?
So I Heart the Zoo, we've been doing it for a few years now, and it's an absolutely awesome event. So Lucy thinks that you want to hear from her, but it's really about celebrating our animals and doing things for our animals and just being able to show appreciation for the animals that we have here, because we do love all of our animals, and we want to show people what we do to keep them safe and happy in human care.
Oh,
Great. So Jessica and Sarah, first of all, tell us who your friends are there.
Yeah, we have
Who want to be a part of this?
Of course, exactly. We have two wonderful animals with us today. We have Rosemary, our Dutch rabbit, and then we also have Lucy, who's a skunk conure, and she loves to show off. She's a very vocal, very social animal, so we always love to be able to have her out to meet new people.
Yeah, our guests, especially our Zoofari participants, our summer programs, all the kids that come here, they know and love Lucy very much.
Oh,
wonderful, wonderful. And what kind of
we love Lucy.
I'm sorry, what kind of a bird was that again?
She's a sun conure.
Sun conure. Okay, I'm not familiar with that, but beautiful bird and beautiful rabbit. So can you tell us, what can people expect from the event? What are you looking for them to take away from it?
Yeah, of course. This Saturday, it's from 11 to 2 here at the zoo. And what when you come into the zoo, you're going to get to see a ton of really fun activities going on. And we are talking about the enrichment, and that's something that our zookeepers have do every day with our animals. But we thought today or Saturday will be a great time for the guests to be able to be involved with that as well. So as you come in, you'll get to make some enrichment for our animals. You'll get to see it put in. You'll get to hear some great keeper talks and make some crafts that you can take home with you.
How fun. Well, how long has I Heart the Zoo actually been around?
I want to say this is probably around our 5th or 6th year. And it happens to be one of the events that our guests really seem to enjoy. The winter, we tend to not get as many guests as we do in the summer. But this is an event that a lot of people like to come out for, because it is fun to make something for the animals, see them get to play with it or interact with it. So guests really seem to like this event a lot. So we just make sure that we do run it every year.
Great. So what are some of the exhibits that some of our friends can enjoy when they come over to the zoo?
Yeah, we have a lot of wonderful animals here at the zoo. We have a huge reptile wing that has a great diversity of different species of snakes and lizards and turtles. But you'll also be able to see some of our great primates, like our TT monkeys, our black-handed spider monkeys, as well as some of our lemurs. And then we have a lot of larger mammals, like our armor leopard and some servals. And we have a lot of small species, like our Panamanian golden frog. So you get to see so many different animals. And like I said, there'll be some amazing keeper talks, and you'll hear directly from the animal care staff talking about how they take care of the animals.
Not just the staff, but the animals themselves as well, clearly.
That's it, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
How can people find out more about the zoo?
So if you want to find out more about the zoo, you can either go to our website, which is statenislandzoo.org, or you can go to our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is updated quite often, and any event that we're going to have is posted under the events portion of our Facebook, and that'll give you most of the information. Yet that will give you really all of the information that you need to know.
And what is that Facebook page?
Just go to Staten Island Zoo on Facebook.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Very good. Well, Sarah and Jessica, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. It's wonderful, and your friends there looks like they're enjoying the Staten Island Morning Show as well. So.
Exactly.
And just to let your viewers know, if they're looking for any last minute Valentine's Day gifts, we have adopted animals available. So you can go to our website and you can symbolically sponsor one of our animals in somebody's name, and you get a nice little package for your Valentine. And we're also on Cameo. We have several of our animals. Lucy is on Cameo, so you can get a special message sent to your Valentine from Lucy. And we have about 10 other animals, including our capybaras, our ringtail lemurs, our meerkats, our American crow. So you can give a special message from one of our animals to your Valentine.
That's fun. Thank you so much for that. And thank you again for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. I do actually watch probably way too much YouTube than I should, but there's a lot of places around the country that have, YouTube channels and the zoos and things like that. And these are amazing stuff. I wonder if the Staten Island Zoo will maybe join them. I think it's going to be a lot of fun with our other friends there, Miss Rabbit and the I just escaped me what the bird was.
Lucy.
Lucy
Yeah.
the bird. Yeah, she was extremely excited to be joining the
That was
Staten Island
super
Morning
cute.
Show.
Super cute. Well, listen,
Absolutely.
a lot of people, their love of their life are their pets, right?
Yeah,
And
sure.
so, hey, a perfect Valentine gift to sponsor a pet in their
Mhm.
name. That would be lovely.
That's right. Good stuff. Well, folks, big changes could be on the way to schools in Staten Island and the nation. On Staten Island's Monica Guy tells us what it could mean for the breakfast and lunches many kids eat every day.
Well, good morning. Following up on the Biden administration's national strategy on hunger, nutrition, and health, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has been tasked with making school meals healthier.
For the next 10 years, my plan, as was already referenced, would make at least 9 million more children eligible for free school meals, a major first step for free meals for every single student. And we're also supporting schools so they can cook more meals from scratch, purchase more food from local farmers and ranchers.
Less sugar and sodium and boosting the number of whole grains. The changes will be phased in through 2027, and they could look something like this. Sugars would be limited in breakfast cereals and yogurts beginning in 2025. And then over the next 2 years, sugars will make up less than 10% of all of the calories in each meal. Sodium would be cut by 20%. Sodium would be cut by 20% by 2027. And when it comes to whole grains, the USDA is considering two options. One calls for 80% of all grains offered during the school week to be whole grains. That means a lot less white bread for sandwiches. The other plan could allow for enriched grain foods, like flour tortillas. When it comes to milk, one option limits flavored milk for high school students, while the other allows flavored milk for all grades. Well, nothing is written in stone just yet, so don't stress over whether or not your kids will actually drink plain milk. Head to regulations.gov, follow the online instructions for posting comments and weighing in on what you think about the proposals. And remember, all comments are part of the public record. I'm Monica Guy reporting.
A new federal grant will provide money for a new literacy program that looks to enhance family engagement on the North Shore and across the 5 boroughs. The money will go to Literacy Inc. and encourage childhood reading using the latest technology. I'm somebody that likes to open a book.
Yeah.
I
get
still
that part
love
of
it.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, I think reading is so important. It just makes such a difference in kids' lives. And I love seeing kids get excited about books and reading. And so I think this could be a great thing.
Is a different connection than when you read it on a phone or an iPad from when you get it from a book.
Don't you
from
agree
the
with
actual
that? Yeah.
pages, you know, and the same thing like reading a newspaper or a magazine, the physical, the tangible, whatever the dopamine effect in your mind or whatever. There's something about it
Turning that page.
It's just turning the page instead of doing electronic. So
yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. All right, state lawmakers are reintroducing a bill that will require government insurance plans to cover the cost of medical marijuana. The bill, previously introduced by former Staten Island Senator Diane Savino, would apply to Medicaid, Child Health Plus, EPIC, and Essential Plan programs. If passed, medical marijuana would be reclassified as a prescription drug under state law. So we're still, we're getting closer towards, marijuana and cannabis use being, first of all, it has to be declassified by the federal government as a
medical
controlled substance, as a drug.
Yeah.
And until that happens, it's still going to come across these stumbling blocks. And
Sure.
for medical marijuana uses, there are plenty of individuals out there that this is their only treatments, I should say. There's others as well. But for some, that this is the only treatment that really helps either with pain management or other things that do, for their ailments and things. And it can be difficult for many people to get it.
That's right.
Instead of taking prescription drugs and things like that. So,
absolutely. I mean, I think it's just an important thing to recognize the difference between, controlling what you do and what you take and when you take and how much you use versus, on a social level where things sometimes can get out of control. So it's important to recognize the difference, and hopefully it can be something that those in need can use in a controlled manner.
And I think taking that step to classifying it as a prescribed drug, as a prescription drug, from the state of New York, I think is certainly a big step forward for medical marijuana becoming more widespread, more uses for different medical conditions.
Absolutely. The Staten Island Film Festival is looking for submissions ahead of their 2023 festival in June. Joining us now to talk about it is the festival's founder, Vinny Langdon. Hi, Vinny. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Vinny.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me, Nikki and Don. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
And yes, our second annual Staten Island Summer Shorts Film Festival. We are looking for submissions. You have about 20 days to, make a music video, make a short narrative film, maybe a documentary, maybe one of those funny how-to videos we always tend to look when we're totally bored on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And what's great about this festival and what is unique is that we're actually essentially a part of Historic Port Richmond Preservation Association. And what that is we're in collaboration with the Reformed Protestant Dutch Church that is one of the oldest congregations, not only on Staten Island, but across the country, established in 1655 when Dutch migrants came over and, they wanted to bring their religious practices over to the New World at the time. And, when you have a church that is almost over 350 years old, you start to see deterioration of the church. The roof is kind of falling apart and, it's American history. And if you're driving around Staten Island, you see a lot of those names like Decker and Mesereau, and you're wondering, where'd they come up with those names? Well, a lot of those families and origins came from the Reformed Church. And, a lot of times we talk about, church fundraisers and picnics. And as an actor and filmmaker myself, I came up with this idea to them to say, you know what? Why don't we put together a film festival, roll out the red carpet and make it fun? Everybody loves movies. Come have popcorn and enjoy. And what's going to happen is, actors, aspiring filmmakers, those what they're calling now influencers on Instagram and TikTok. If you love making videos and maybe you don't know how to get yourself out there, film festivals are the great way to do, especially after, we were locked up with that pandemic and people that are itching, they just want to network. Film festivals are the way to go. Make yourself a film that's under 10 minutes, submit it to our film festival. We'll show it up on the big screen and walk the red carpet and you'll feel like a celebrity for, the night. So why not, right?
So much fun. I've been to many film festivals in my day, and I did a lot of work with a lot of the film festivals in the Southwest. And it's also a real. You were talking about community earlier, right? It's a really wonderful way to build a community kind of feeling and vibe among people who, even if they're not filmmakers or they're not actors, they really get a deeper appreciation, I feel like, for what goes into production and what goes into what actors do and what producers do, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, and with the iPhone and those type of devices today, I mean, everyone basically almost has a small movie studio in their pocket. I mean, it's just amazing. What the phones can do, and even smaller cameras can do, GoPros and things like that. I mean, like you said, you've seen stuff on TikTok and Instagram and so forth, and putting together these fun little reels. So let me ask you. Well, first of all, I want to make a comment, but the comment is, Vin, I got to tell you, your background and the camera and everything, leave it to the filmmaker to come up. I think probably our best remote connection just as of date. And we've been only doing this show for the last 2 months or so.
Yeah, and the shirt, the
whole thing. So we leave it to the filmmaker. Yeah. So big Devils fan I see in the background. So what are you looking for out of this year's submissions? Are you looking for a wide range of topics, or I mean, what are you looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything, you film a little short film in your kitchen, maybe grandma making some eggplant parmesan or whatever you want to do. Or, like how I started back in the day was, get a group of friends together on a weekend, go to, Snug Harbor, go to a local park and just say, hey, you know what? Let's just tell a funny story, and let's make a little narrative. Or maybe you're an artist, a musician, and you just want to get your music out there. It's a great platform. DIY, do it yourself, make a little music video. Like Dawn was saying, you don't need a fancy, movie camera to, make something unique or great. Or maybe in your family or around Staten Island, there's so much history. You want to do a documentary on Fort Wadsworth, or even we just had, go to the Staten Island Zoo and do one of those videos with one of the parrots or, koala bears. Why not, right? So we're looking for a range of anything, whether you're a filmmaker that's been doing it for, most of your life, or you never picked up a video camera before. Hey, it's a great opportunity. There's no egos or anything. It's just, show up and do it because, this is what people love to do. And as a filmmaker, you get to network. So again, the film festival is happening, June 24th, 2023. And you have until February 28th to submit. If you're not a filmmaker and this sounds like, hey, your ears are perked up and you just love, movies, and especially the independent market, sometimes there's independent films that are much better than, what's on your typical Netflix and, streaming devices out there. So come check it out. Come support, the Reformed Church. And, tickets will go on sale. And for more information, you can go to filmfreeway.com/Staten Island Summer of Shorts. I know it's long. I'm sure we'll throw it in the comments for you, or you can check it out. Facebook.com/SI Summer of Shorts. Check it out. Come get dressed up. Walk the red carpet. You never know who you're going to be sitting next to. Last year, we had Vincent Pastore from The Sopranos debuted one of his short films. Uncle Nino from MTV's Jersey Shore strutted the red carpet. And I was like, what's going on, Uncle Nino? Come on in.
Was he dressed?
Barely, but
okay,
hey,
I figured,
okay.
I didn't know if there was a dress code, and I figured if Uncle Nino's there, there's not. Really quickly, just for everybody who's deciding on the content that they want to submit, is there something that's going to sway your influence on one way or the other as far as evaluation goes, so that people know while they're coming up with ideas?
Right, sure. So it is important to know that all these films will be pre-screened and judged. We have 3 judges who are in the industry that have been making movies or acting in some way, some part of their whole life. And they're going to look at the films and, just make sure that, the content is suitable for all ages, and make sure it's great. Of course, if you're really serious about this, you'll be being critiqued on, is your audio good? Is your lighting? Is your video? Is your sound? Are we going to see a lot of shadows in your movie, or is it going to be, are we squinting and your camera's out of focus? So you want to just make sure that, you knock all the check marks off, that it is a decent film, that, if you're proud to share it, then I'm sure it's going to be a great film. So
wonderful. Thank you for that.
Well, thanks, Vinny, for joining us here this morning, and hopefully we can get it to the front office, that maybe that's a live stream for your red carpet there on the 24th of June. That would be kind of fun, right?
Yeah, come on out.
Thanks,
on
Vinny.
Staten Island. All right,
Thank you
thanks, guys.
so
Have a
much.
great day.
Good luck with everything.
Yeah, have to pass that along to Danny and Courtney and Gerald and Lisa Marie, and see if we can maybe put something together,
I'd
do a
love
little
that.
live red carpet, right? Get all dressed up and
How much
interview.
fun.
Yeah,
We love
absolutely.
things like that.
All right, friends, the NYPD is looking for submissions for their police commissioner for a day essay contest. High school students from across the 5 boroughs are asked to write about how they would work with the MTA to address subway safety. The essay submissions have to be between 500 and 1,000 words. The winner will receive a $500 award. Submissions are due on March the 19th. I think it's a great idea. I think even that's a bit of a lost art, writing. I'm not the greatest writer, I will admit it. That's why my entire career I've done everything pretty much impromptu, but I think it's a great idea to have the kids go ahead and write these essays to become police commissioner for a day.
I think it's great, and it also kind of gears you up for as you get a little older in your teenage years, when you need those blue books. You got to fill those blue books with
blue
answers.
Books, wow.
I wonder,
Well,
do they
you're
still have the
bringing
blue
that. I don't
books?
know.
I
guess
filled
everything's
those.
electronic. But...
Lots of fluff. I was really good at the painting the picture. Not necessarily sure if I had the right answers, but at least I made it look like I did.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that'll be really fun. Commissioner Sewell, I'm sure, will be able to judge those or whatever. And wouldn't it be fun if they got Commissioner Reagan, right, from Blue Bloods, right?
Oh,
Frank,
how great
Francis.
would that would be fantastic.
Right.
And of course, the fact that there's a reward at the end of this makes it even more of a motivation. So that sounds exciting for everybody. I hope you get involved. In the meantime, let's head back to the Weather Center now with meteorologist Mike Favetta. He's got a look at what's going on with this very mild February.
It has been mild, and it stays that way, Nikki and Don. We've been tracking a lot of the cold air that happened earlier this month, and that was mostly last week. But now the rest of February actually looks milder than average. And typically, this is the coldest time of year for New York City. But when you look back in the long range, about 50 years back from the 1970s to just about 2020, you see this longer trend. And it's the trend of that the milder winter is showing up as about 6 degrees warmer in 2020 as compared back to 50 years ago. So winters are turning milder. And even though there's a little bit of variation there, look at how you have some cold winters and some warmer winters here at the top, some colder winters here at the bottom. Overall, the trend from year to year and in the long range, because that is climate, shows that there's a little bit more of variability and showing that we see the milder trend. So what does that mean for how much it's been above average? Because typically we've seen some cold snaps. There have been some milder trends so far this winter, but overall, the month of January came in with record warmth, and that continues now into February with days above average during the entire winter season, averaging about 2 weeks. That's 13 days above average. So to have a whole 1/8 of the winter season be above average is something that you might think about and go, okay, well, I think we're seeing a little bit of a milder trend here. And in fact, that is the case. Even for most of the city and most areas in New York where you have the average temperature warming, winter as a whole is warming about 3.5 degrees. So season by season, we can break it down going back to the 70s, and you can see that there have been some milder periods and some colder periods, but overall, that trend keeps pointing in the warmer direction. So that's kind of what we've been seeing, Nikki and Don, over the last few years and the last few decades, is this milder trend that takes over throughout the winter season here in the city. Now, this will vary from place to place, and some places in the country and some places in the world even are not warming as quickly. Some other places are warming much faster, but this kind of goes along with the trend of the entire planet warming from season to season and from year to year. But if we just focus on the winter season, you can see that there's a pretty significant warming in just the last few years. Now, you might think to yourself, well, why is, in a 3.6 degrees all that much? I mean, that's the difference between, say, room temperature, 71 degrees, versus kicking the heat up a few notches to 74. The reason why this is so important is because the Earth and the planet acts as a system. And so if you have a fever, average body temperature, 98.6 degrees, if you have a fever of 101, you probably are sick. And so that's the same thinking with the planet as a whole. When you take all of these different systems and the planet and the biome and you come up with a temperature that's 3.5 degrees warmer, it's like the planet has a fever. And so that's why scientists are a little concerned, and climate scientists, that this may be a worrisome trend that less snow is in our forecast, especially with temperatures this warm going into the winter season. So that's a little wrap up of what you can expect here of the winter season and how it's been warming over the last several years and decades. We have a very warm winter as well ahead for the rest of February, because there's some milder days ahead, even on the long range beyond the 7-day forecast. So we'll give you some more info on that later in the show. And always, you can check it out on statenisland.com for your latest forecast and stream our shows.
Thank you for that. That was a great analogy, Mike.
It was, yeah.
Right?
Has a fever. The planet has a little bit of a fever. And Mike, I'm not going to date myself in any capacity. Well, maybe I will, but it was always around this time. There's always snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Even I don't even know how far back I want to go, but walking to school as a kid and things like that, you're always in snow.
True.
It's just
in February, there's always snow on the ground.
Slush.
And we usually see in between the patches of snow, the random daffodil or the tulip trying to bloom. So that's expected this time of year. But to have, like you said, no snow and just breaking records left and right for warmth year after year. Yes, you'll get the occasional cold snap that we had last week, but it was very short-lived. It only lasted about a day or two.
It's very interesting. I was reading about how so many New Yorkers have moved to Florida, predominantly, of course, because of weather. And I thought, it's not so bad being back east, northeast, at least, in the winter anymore. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Yeah. Let's just hope that Mother Nature doesn't get us back in March. That's all I'm hoping.
Yeah,
I hope so too.
Thanks for that, Mike. That was a great, really, really great perspective. Appreciate that. Staten Island-based Eden 2 programs recently received a $500,000 grant to help expand their day habilitation services for autistic adults.
And here now to tell us more about it is their executive director, Dr. Joanne Gerenzer. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We want to start by asking you what the process of getting the grant money is like.
Well, first we had to obviously have a purpose. And for us, it was to expand our much needed services for our adults. And so we reached out to our Congresswoman, Nicole Malliotakis, to talk about whether or not there would be any federal money available for us. It's really hard for us to afford to grow sites or get a new building with the rates that we get. We really have to raise that money. So being able to get $500,000 from our Congresswoman was huge for us.
I bet.
So getting $500,000, in some people look at this, say that's a lot of money, but when you're providing so many services and so many expenses, what is the help of this grant money going to be used for, and really what's it mean to the organization?
Well, so the purpose is, one of the fastest growing programs we provide is our adult program. Children age out of our school program, and many of them will need our service for the rest of their lives. Eden 2 serves mainly individuals with pretty significant autism. And so we end up running out of space. And that's what's happened. And so we're looking at a new building to be able to do three things. One is grow the program for much needed services, particularly for those individuals living at home with their families. The second thing is we're going to create a senior center. Eden 2's been around for close to 50 years. We've got individuals that attend our adult program that are in their 60s and even pushing 70. And so many of them have been in day programs, for 45 years. They're ready to do the things that seniors would like to do, which is a little bit more chill and laid back. And so we're looking to develop that and hopefully create an integrated program where seniors that don't have autism might come spend a day there. And then the third is to create novel programs that will allow our adults to be more integrated and employed in the community. So we're looking to bring a couple of businesses actually in to the building that we're looking to access so that we could then collaborate together and create work opportunities for our adults.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love knowing, where the money's going and how it's working towards helping. And so for the day-to-day services, tell us a little bit, just so we can get an understanding of how it all works. What do the services actually provide on a day-to-day?
So Eden 2 provides a whole bunch of services. We start at 2.5 years of age. You can enter our preschool. Our goal with our preschoolers is to get them back into regular educations, get them kickstarted in learning. If they need us, they go into our school program. In the school program, we work with them until they're 21, trying to get them as many skills to be as independent and capable of being in the community. And then for those that still need us, we have our adult program. And the adult program provides a variety of different things, largely based getting the individuals to be as productive and active members of the community that they live in, to have things that they enjoy working on, doing, working, playing, those kinds of things. So it's really, a lot of them live in residences, but many of them live at home with their parents who are in their 70s and 80s. So it's an opportunity also for the parents to have some time to be able to get some things done as well.
That's great.
Wonderful. So what are some of the other resources that you provide to help those with autism?
Resources in terms of what other funding have we gotten,
or other programs, or just for what the organization does?
Oh, well, so one thing I do have to say is that, the amazing thing about Staten Island is the support we get from our legislators. So towards this building, we also received $1 million in allocated funds from our Assemblyman, Charles Fall. So,
great.
Being able to have a community that stands behind programs like ours is really tremendous. And so, besides the adult program, we also have after-school programs, holiday programs. I think the hardest thing that people don't understand about individuals with autism is that many of them have such significant needs that you have to keep an eye on them every minute of every day. And it's just really difficult for families if they don't have the kinds of resources that we're able to provide them, like giving them a little bit of a break, getting them, letting the parents get away for a weekend, for example. and things like that. So we also do a lot of training. We train others on how to work with people with autism through our outreach program. We do a lot of workshops and webinars that are seen pretty much around the world.
I think it's wonderful because, we think about those with autism, but you make such a good point in recognizing those who live with it because they're family members or roommates or friends. And so it's really wonderful to have resources to help them to learn how to cope and deal and support, right?
Yeah. It's important because people with autism are capable of doing a lot of things, but they need the right kind of environment for them to be able to do these things. Yeah. And so that's really our goal, is to help create those environments.
Thank you for doing what you do. And I want to help everybody who's watching right now understand where they can go to find out more information.
Yeah, sure. We have a website, www.eden2.org. They could call our program. There's a whole bunch of services and supports that we can provide. And if we're not the right provider, we can find and help find those that can.
That's great.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joanne, for joining us here this morning.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Wonderful to have you. We appreciate that.
Yes, doing some great work across Staten Island. So coming up, why New Yorkers are increasingly moving out of the state.
Plus a final check of traffic and weather. And of course, you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter and click follow.
Nothing mysterious there. These are captions. Open captions are the on-screen display of a movie's dialogue, speakers' names, and sounds. Theaters in New York City are now required to show some of their movies with open captions. To learn more, visit nyc.gov/captions.
This is the place. Hey! Yo! This is my grandson, Mike. It's his 18th birthday.
Man.
Wow! One of the best years of my life.
Well, when I was 18, the ladies used to think I was fine.
Yeah, your grandma, maybe.
Oh, come on, man.
He's a smart guy, but I thought he could use a little advice today. Start putting away some money.
Call your mother.
And now that you're 18, you need to sign up with the Selective Service System.
Remember Jamie Thomas?
Yeah.
Heard he didn't register and was denied a job with TSA.
There you go.
That's it. Save money, call mom, and register with SSS.
Well, one other thing. Get yourself some better kicks.
Ugliest shoes I've ever seen.
Be the man. Register with the Selective Service System today at sss.gov.
And them socks, my God.
Welcome back to the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Don Smith, along with Nikki Stanzione. Let's enter the Weather Center for a final check of the forecast. Here's meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning to you, Nikki and Don. We've got some beautiful weather on tap for today. After a little bit of a cloudy start, temperatures will warm very nicely well into the upper 40s and probably hit 50 in a few spots thanks to all that afternoon sun. So the early morning clouds part for mostly sunny skies in Bloomfield. Your high goes to 50 degrees, 48 in Rosebank, 49 in Bay Terrace, and 50 in Pleasant Plains. What a great way to start off the middle of the week. So temperatures keep rising throughout the next few days, which is why there's a rain and not snow threat going into Thursday and then again on Friday. Saturday night may have a little bit of cold air returning. We might just be below the freezing mark to allow for some mixing, maybe some snow and sleet pellets in there with that rain, but ultimately I think it's going to trend milder, as just about every system has been the past few weeks. It will remain mild going into next week, so you'll even see here going beyond the 7-day forecast. This is about 10 days out, which is about as far as some of these longer term models go. Notice the Climate Prediction Center thinks that there will be a very strong signal, a 90 to 100% chance of above average temperatures here in the Northeast. And of course, that means here in Staten Island. So we will keep an eye on that, especially with all of the mild weather that we've seen. It looks to be the trend going into the next few weeks. At least for the next week, you'll see a little bit of rain going into Thursday for tomorrow, as well as again on Friday, later on at night. I think Saturday has a little bit of a cool down. We dip down into the 40s by later Saturday, and there might be just enough cold air to support a snowflake or a sleet pellet mixed in. Sunday clears out, but temperatures remain, again, a few degrees above average in the mid-40s. Monday and Tuesday, we are back up anywhere from 10 to 12 degrees above average. So this milder trend stays. We barely get below the freezing mark, I think, this weekend, just at times later on at night. So it'll still feel quite pleasant and very unusually mild for this time in February. You know, we just ended the coldest time of the year statistically, and we really only had about, 36 hours of freezing cold weather. So we're right back to that milder trend, and I think that'll stick with us for at least the next week or so.
My goodness. Well, the odds are definitely in our favor based on those percentages for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
90% chance above normal. And looking at Valentine's Day, which is on your 7-day there.
Yes.
Tuesday, right?
53.
Whew.
Very warm. Yep.
I can't remember the last time Valentine's Day was that warm. Probably almost eat outside if it's.
I know, right? Go for some walks in the park and have some
Exactly.
romantic picnics.
That might have to be Tuesday's show, Don. I think you teased it. We'll have to give you the warmest Valentine's days.
Ooh, look at that. Now everyone has the entire week to think about that. Get your answers. Post them to Facebook.
I love it.
Post them in the chat in the comments.
Good idea. Thanks so much for that,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Isn't it funny when the weather's so good, everybody's like, thank you so much to the meteorologist, right? But when the weather's bad, we're like, thanks a lot. Like as if it's, as if it's their fault.
They're just the messengers. Right?
It's
They're
all
just-
Mother Nature. It's all her.
Exactly.
She's very moody this year, but I'll take it. It's a good mood for sure. And Don, of course, has one last check of the roadways. What's going on with traffic today?
Thank you, Nikki. So we're seeing this road work here on the Staten Island Expressway as we did yesterday morning, and they're pretty much almost on schedule. We'll go out to the cameras here on the eastbound side. So usually in about 3 minutes from now, we're at 9:47. That road work will set up at 9:50. But the westbound side, the HOV lane is out of service with construction, as you do see it here. We're closer to Manor Road, actually right at the exit for Bradley Avenue. You see that HOV lane, everyone merging back into the normal lanes of traffic. That's really just to facilitate the bridge repairs that are being done along the SIE there from Richmond Avenue, getting just east of Bradley Avenue. So we'll go over to, let's go back to the cameras here. Let me bring up the list. It's a little bit, there we go. Let's bring in Crafton, and I do not see the eastbound side setting up as of yet, but I have a feeling it was right here yesterday. Going to be out here very shortly. That will close down the HOV lane as well. And this all wraps up just about 2:30. So give yourself about another 5-6 minutes in either direction on the Staten Island Expressway. Now let's go to the Goethals Bridge. And so right here back into Elizabeth and Linden, things are fine. Bayonne Bridge, nothing being reported on the bridge into Bayonne like we saw yesterday with 2 lanes shut. So that's good news. North Shore, Richmond Terrace, Mariners Harbor, Port Richmond, St. George, Tompkinsville, everything is good along Bay Street. That is a good ride. Staten Island Expressway heading east to the Verrazano. Verrazano is good, except coming off the upper level. And the upper level here this morning is going to be the eastbound side is a little bit slow off that upper roadway. So just be mindful of that here this morning. And it doesn't look like we have any maps here this morning. So let me just refresh the screen, and we'll go back to the present mode. Let's see if we can bring that in. We go the entire screen. Let's see, Pam, our director. See if that is working. I don't think it is, so I'm not sure why. But anyway, let's just, there we go. I think we have the maps. Let's see if that works here. I apologize for that. Little computer issues. Outer Bridge into Perth Amboy, that is moving fine. West Shore Expressway also going to be looking good. We'll take a look at the MTA here this morning. The Staten Island Railway has those train platform changes there going from Arthur Kill to Prince's Bay. and that is there until 3 o'clock today. That's what's happening here around the Staten Island. Nikki, back over to you.
Thanks for that, Don. Appreciate that.
So recent data from the Census Bureau shows New York is the state with the greatest population loss, and a new report from United Van Lines found out why. The top reason for leaving was retirement at 31%. Almost 29% cited lifestyle reasons, like wanting to be closer to family in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. 23% said they left for a new job. So, yeah, retiring in this area is a bit of a challenge. I mean, you almost need to retire almost at the salary that you are coming from.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and if you hopefully have saved some money and things like that, it's just taxes and tolls and everything that kind of property taxes, the whole thing. So it's that part of it definitely can see. And again, for others getting away for a new job, that's certainly viable. But there's nothing in there about weather.
Well, no, and it's interesting because, like I said, I had read about a lot of people want to leave, but I think that kind of ties into lifestyle and retirement. A lot of people want to get out of the colder air in the winter so that, you know, the snowbirds become official residents of the southern states. But now, with the weather being so much better this winter, maybe it will influence more people to stick around. Who knows? We'll see.
We hope so.
Listen, if they go, less traffic.
That's it. less people here on Staten Island. Right. Exactly.
Less people. Meanwhile, Michael Jackson's biopic has named its star, and Beyonce tickets have gone on sale. But will it be another Ticketmaster fiasco?
Our own Christina Bear has the latest entertainment headlines in the Bear Buzz.
Michael Jackson will be portrayed by his nephew in an upcoming biopic. 26-year-old Jafar, who is the son of Michael's brother Jermaine, posted about the role on Twitter, saying he's, quote, humbled and honored to play his uncle. Michael Jackson's son Prince giving his cousin's approval on social media, saying he, quote, couldn't be happier or prouder for him. The movie titled Michael will be directed by Antoine Fuqua and is set to start filming this year. Hey, super fans of Yellowstone, you now have a chance to rent Kevin Costner's ranch. While it's not the same ranch used in the hit Paramount TV show, for a cool $36,000 a night, you can sleep under the same Aspen, Colorado roof that belongs to the movie star. And unfortunately, it doesn't come with Rip Wheeler. The 160-acre estate dubbed Dunbar Ranch after his character in Dances with Wolves has 12 bedrooms across 3 buildings, and enough to sleep over 24 people. In case you've been living under a rock, the Queen Bee announced her first world tour in nearly 6 years. Beyonce will be embarking on a Renaissance World Tour starting in May. Tickets for verified fans are now available on Ticketmaster, but registration windows vary by city. Here's hoping it doesn't turn into another Taylor Swift Ticketmaster fiasco.
Well, that does it here for us on the Staten Island Morning Show. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We'll see you back here next time.
Have a great week.